Celtic have just been handed their Europa League opponent, and it's a massive test. We've also got breaking transfer news with a major U-turn on a £6.5 million deal, plus a nightmare fixture schedule that could decide our season. And the transfer window drama continues with targets slipping away to other clubs. It's been an intense 24 hours. But first, make sure you like this video and subscribe to the channel for more Celtic content. Celtic's European campaign has just entered its most demanding stage, and the shape of the weeks ahead is already clear. Progress from the league phase has earned a place in the Europa League knockout playoffs, but it's also created a sequence of fixtures that will stretch the squad and test how well the group can manage pressure across competitions. Celtic will face Stuttgart in the playoff round. The first leg will be played at Celtic Park on Thursday, the 19th of February, with the return leg taking place away from home at MHP Arena 1 week later. The two matches are separated by just 7 days, with very little room to rotate or reset in between. The timing matters. The second leg away against Stuttgart falls on Thursday, the 26th of February. 3 days later, Celtic are scheduled to travel to Ibrox Stadium for a Premiership fixture that always carries weight regardless of league position. That sequence alone explains why this period is already being viewed inside the club as one of the hardest runs of the season. The win over Utrecht secured progress, but it also offered a reminder of how quickly control can slip when energy drops or structure loosens. Celtic were dominant early, then found themselves defending deeper as the game opened up. In a knockout tie against Stuttgart, those moments are punished far more often. Starting the tie at Celtic Park on the 19th of February gives Celtic a familiar setting and a crowd that knows how to lift European nights. Against Stuttgart, the aim will be to build an advantage without exposing space at the back. Both opponents are comfortable sitting in shape and waiting for mistakes. Conceding at home would immediately tilt the balance of the tie. The return leg away at MHP Arena presents a very different test. A trip to Stuttgart brings a fast pitch, tempo in wide areas, and a side used to playing at speed. Travel is part of the challenge. Flying to Germany mid-season, then returning to prepare for Ibrox compresses recovery time. Players carrying knocks or heavy minutes will be asked to push through again. That reality places pressure on squad depth, not just the starting 11. This is where recent recruitment talk feeds directly into the football. Celtic have been active in the market, particularly in wide areas, with the aim of easing the load during runs like this. A fresh option could change how games against Stuttgart are managed, especially late on when space appears and decisions slow. Now for the main story, as Celtic are reportedly edging closer to their first permanent signing of the January window, with the Daily Mail reporting that a £6.5 million deal for French winger Fares Gedjimis is nearing completion. If confirmed, it would mark a sharp turn in a story that appeared to be going nowhere just hours ago, when reports suggested talks had stalled over Frozenone's asking price. The timing matters. Celtic have moved through most of January with only loan additions, a situation that has tested patience among supporters and stretched options on the pitch. The sense all week was that the club were running out of room to manoeuvre, especially with the deadline approaching and European knockout football now added to the calendar. This report suggests Celtic have finally found common ground. On Thursday evening, the Gedjimis deal looked difficult. Italian sources indicated Frosinone were holding out for a fee closer to €7 million, a valuation Celtic were unwilling to meet. Negotiations slowed, attention drifted toward Damir Redzic, and the wider mood shifted toward another window of caution rather than conviction. The Daily Mail's claim that a £6.5 million agreement is now close points to compromise on both sides. For Celtic, the right wing has been an issue since Nicholas Kuhn left. Yang Hyun-jun has worked hard and shown flashes, but he has not fully nailed the role. Rotation has often felt forced rather than planned. Games have stretched, legs have tired, and Celtic have lacked a natural outlet on that side when momentum dips. Gedjimis offers something different. At 23, he is at a stage where development and output can align. His numbers in Serie B point to a winger who looks to hurt teams rather than simply recycle possession. He attacks space, runs directly at defenders, and does not shy away from taking responsibility in the final third. Those traits are not always easy to find, especially within Celtic's budget range. The context of the season sharpens the logic. Celtic have just come through a demanding Europa League tie against Utrecht and now face a February schedule that includes knockout football and a trip to Ibrox. That run will expose any lack of depth quickly. Wide players cover more ground than most. They press, track back, and are expected to create. Without rotation, output drops. A permanent signing matters here. Loans can help in the short term, but they rarely offer continuity. A £6.5 million outlay would signal that Celtic see Gedjimis as more than cover. It would suggest trust in his ability to contribute now and grow into the role over time. That distinction is important, especially with planning already drifting toward next season as well as this one. In other news, Celtic's win over Utrecht delivered what was needed on the night: qualification secured, pressure eased, and another European tie added to the calendar. But as the dust settles, the shape of what comes next is beginning to look awkward, very awkward. A sequence of fixtures is lining up that could test this squad more than anything they have faced so far this season. The Europa League draw takes place later today, with Celtic set to face either Ferencvaros or Stuttgart in the knockout playoff round. On its own, that is a challenge Celtic will feel capable of meeting. Over two legs, both ties would demand discipline and control, especially away from home. But it is the timing, not just the opponent, that has raised eyebrows. The second leg of that European tie will be played away from home on Thursday, the 26th of February. 3 days later, Celtic are due at Ibrox for a Premiership match that could have a direct bearing on the title race. That combination, travel heavy and unforgiving, is the sort of scheduling that managers dread. European knockout football is draining in ways league matches are not. Preparation takes longer, recovery matters more. Even when results go your way, legs carry the miles. To then turn around and walk into a high pressure derby away from home with little time to reset is a brutal ask. This is where Celtic's squad depth comes into sharp focus. The win over Utrecht showed what this group can do when energy levels are high and momentum is flowing. It also showed how quickly games can tilt when that energy dips. Utrecht's two goals came during a spell where Celtic lost control, and that loss did not come from tactics alone. It came from fatigue and broken rhythm. If the draw hands Celtic Stuttgart, the physical demand increases. They play at pace, press aggressively, and force mistakes through volume rather than patience. Away legs against sides like that often leave little in the tank. Ferencvaros pose a different problem. They manage games well, slow things down, and punish lapses. Lastly, Celtic's long-running interest with Kieran Bowie looks to be over. Sky Sports report this morning that the Hibernian striker left Edinburgh Airport to undergo a medical with Hellas Verona ahead of a move worth around £6 million. If completed, it will take a domestic option off the table at a time when Celtic are still weighing up how to strengthen their attack before the window shuts. Bowie has been on Celtic's radar for a while. He was linked during the summer and again this month as Martin O'Neill looked to add another forward to support the squad through a heavy run of games. His profile made sense on paper. He knows the league, has caused Celtic problems before, and is at an age where improvement feels realistic rather than theoretical. That interest never turned into a bid. Instead, it was Verona who moved first and then moved again. Hibs rejected an initial offer earlier this week, but the Italian club returned quickly. This time, the fee was high enough. Bowie travelling this morning suggests there will be no late twist. From a Celtic point of view, the situation reflects the line the club have walked throughout the window. They have been active, names have been discussed, talks have happened, but there has been a clear reluctance to be dragged into deals that stretch their limits, especially in the domestic market where prices can rise quickly. That's all the latest Celtic news for today. Make sure to hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and drop a comment below with your thoughts. I'll see you in the next one. Hail, hail.